be starting with 3 books, but if you end up enjoying this video, I, as you can see, have plenty of books to make a part 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth about. So definitely let me know in the comments below. Okay, so I should probably give a few disclaimers before we get into the books. Disclaimer number 1, I believe that book reviews are for readers and not for authors, which means that the people who have spent the time and read the book, consumed the content, should then have the ability to express their genuine feelings about the content, whether those opinions are, I loved it, it's the best thing in the world, all the way to, I wasted my time reading this book and it is trash. Obviously, the more constructive the criticism, the better, but again, I feel like these reviews on Goodreads, on Amazon, wherever it is that you find them, I think they are meant for other readers, not so much for the authors. And I'm saying this as an aspiring author myself. So that being said, I don't think that if a person's opinion differs from mine, that they are wrong or that they're doing something terrible by expressing their feelings. All of us understand and embrace stories differently, and what I might love, clearly, as we'll see in this video, another person might not. And all of these opinions are absolutely valid. So that's disclaimer 1. And then I also won't be including people's Goodreads usernames. I watched a couple of these videos, like regular style, not ASMR, and none of them included people's screen names or usernames. So I think I'll follow suit and do the same. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to mention. There will be timestamps included in the actual video in the description box and the pinned comment down below. So if there's a particular book that you want to skip to, feel free. And if you want to just sit back or lie down and listen and watch this video all the way through, then you're more than welcome to do that as well. So let me get my first book and we'll dive into the 1-star reviews. So the first book that I will be talking about in this video, or rather the people who did not love it that much will be expressing their opinions about in this video, is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a rom-com. It is probably one of my favorite rom-coms, and there's also a movie that is based off of it, and I think it is pretty faithful to the book. So if you loved the book and you maybe haven't heard that there's a movie, and the main protagonist is played by Lucy Hale, who also plays Arya in Pretty Little Liars. And if you've been on my channel for a while, you probably have seen that I've been rewatching Pretty Little Liars, and I've made a couple of theory videos and video essays about the characters. So definitely a big fan of Lucy Hale, and that just made the Hating Game experience even better for me. So definitely had a fun time reading this book. Before we dive into the 1-star reviews, let me read the back of the book, the synopsis. I think that Lucy can't understand Joshua's joyless, uptight, meticulous approach to his job. Joshua is clearly baffled by Lucy's overly bright clothes, quirkiness, and Pollyanna attitude. Now that they're up for the same promotion, their battle of wills has come to a head, and Lucy refuses to back down when their latest game could cost her a dream job. But the tension between Lucy and Joshua has also reached its boiling point, and Lucy is discovering that maybe she doesn't hate Joshua, and maybe he doesn't hate her either, or maybe this is just another game. So this is what the hating game is about. And now let me get my phone and we'll read some 1-star reviews. Okay, let's see what we've got. The first one says, cliche A, the hate to love relationship. This is a trope that can be done well if there is a fresh spin and the characters were likable. Josh was, gasp, secretly in love with her all along, but instead of doing something radical like being nice, he embarks on a third grader's idea of wooing women. He figuratively flicks boogers in her hair and breaks her crayons. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, there definitely is a very, childish approach to how Joshua and Lucy behave toward each other. Definitely there is no flicking of boogers into other people's hair in this book, thank goodness. But there is a sense of like, ooh, I'm not touching you, you know that commercial? I think it's a commercial, where like siblings annoy each other. It was definitely maybe a bit more on the immature side, but I had fun with it. I took it as them just having these kinds of personalities, but okay, I could see what this person is saying. We listen and we don't judge. So let's move on to the next 1-star review. Okay, this one just gets right to the point. These two would definitely get divorced. So from this review, I'm not sure if the person rated the book 1 star because they thought that these two people would not ultimately have a happy ending, and they were like, well then what's the point? And I truly don't think that they would get divorced, because I feel like you don't just spend this much energy hating somebody to then just, be together for a month and then for all of these feelings to just fizzle out. So I think that they would, in fact, stay together, and I even more so think that they would because they have a lot of common interests and common goals, and they know a lot about each other from all of the years of them trying to annoy one another. They know what each other dislikes and how they're going to spend the rest of their life learning what each other likes and trying to make each other happy. So I don't exactly agree, but I appreciate your opinion and it's valid. Okay, moving on to the next one. It says, the hating game, where the one who is actually doing any quote-unquote hating is me. I am tired of these enemies to lovers books where the protagonists have, surprise, never been enemies at all. It's called enemies to lover, not enemies, in parentheses, but not really to lovers. What's not clicking? So essentially, I guess what this person is saying is that they were never true enemies, so it shouldn't be categorized as an enemies to lovers. I do see what they're saying, because really, guess in this relationship, if somebody was truly hating the other person, I think it would have more so been Lucy, because I think she definitely had a moment where she hated Josh's guts, or Joshua's guts. I keep on calling him Josh, even in my head. I don't think that Joshua ever hated Lucy. I think the hate was very much performative. So I guess in that respect, yeah, it wasn't really like true enemies to lovers. So yeah, I mean, it didn't really like make me not enjoy the book, because I just took it as they were enemies to lovers on the surface, and then the feelings came out after. But I mean, if we're talking about a true enemies, like we hate each other, we want to strangle one another, but then we fall in love over time, I guess the hating game is not exactly that. And actually, if you have any book recommendations for this trope, like a true enemies to lovers trope, I am all ears, because I've been in the mood for something like that, so let me know. The next one is, this person definitely tried, so it says the NF at 42%. If there was ever a book that embodied the word annoying, it would definitely be this one. Well, again, first of all, this person put in the time and the effort to really understand how they felt, which I can appreciate. And also, I think that people have a very different quirkiness tolerance. Like, some people can stomach the quirkiness and they love it, and they're like, give me more. And then some people are a bit more sensitive to characters acting quirky, and personally, that's also one of the things that I am pretty sensitive to when it comes to rom-coms, or any kind of romance books. It is the level of quirky that we're working with, because it can be very fun, it can be very funny and lighthearted, and it can be a great aspect of a character's personality. But at the same time, you can absolutely go in the opposite direction and have the character be so quirky where it's like, I cannot physically, mentally, spiritually imagine if, this character being a real life person and them acting this way and saying these things, like, it makes me itch, so it's a very thin line between good quirky and then overdoing. Oh my god, I'm actually getting secondhand embarrassment just reading these interactions in this dialogue. So I assume that's what this person might have been alluding to, that they could not handle the quirkiness. In some books I can't either. In the hating game, I actually found it pretty funny and cute. So, to each their own. This one is very much to the point, and again, even though I loved the book, I do agree. It says 1 star, and they said, we get it, you're short, god damn. Yeah, if there's one aspect of Lucy Hutton that the author highlights, it is the fact that she is teeny tiny, and this actually happens in a lot of books. It is either that the female protagonist is the tiniest woman you've ever seen, like you can barely see her moving around, and then there's also the guy being so tall, like the tallest man that's ever existed, towering over everybody. So it's usually one of the two, and then that characteristic ends up getting a lot of space on the page, and when you see so much repetition, it can get annoying. So yeah, more power to all of the short so this one I am a little bit nervous about because I already know that this is a pretty controversial book because some people love it and then some people cannot stand it. And the book that we're talking about is The Catcher in the Rye. I actually love the book so much that I have it in 2 languages. So I have it in English and then I have it in Lithuanian as well, which is my native language. And like most people in at least America, I'm not sure how it is in different countries, we had to read The Catcher in the Rye in school, and I had a great time with it, and I ended up rereading it a few times after I graduated. This book is kind of old, and I love that old book smell. So I definitely like it a lot. But I peeked and I did see that a lot of people did not share my opinion. So let's head over to Goodreads and see what the people have to say. Okay, so we're starting off strong. It says, in my hand I hold $5. I will give it to anyone who can explain the plot of this book, in parentheses, or why there is no plot, and make me understand why the hell people think it's so amazing. Okay, so you don't have to give me $5, that's okay, but I will attempt to explain it, at least the way that I see it. Yes, if you were to make a movie based on this book, which I don't think has happened yet, and maybe never will, yeah, there's not a ton of action, so to speak. It is a teenager going through the motions, making weird choices, maybe bad choices, and pretty much being in his own head. And then by the end of the book, we realize that he maybe is not the most reliable narrator of what happened to these other characters or even what happened to him. And I still feel like this book holds a lot of meaning, even if there isn't a very dynamic, very layered plot, so to speak. I think that this book is more so about the loss of innocence and about growing up and about transitioning from being a child into a teenager into an adult and what that means. It is about loss, actual loss, and of all the fear that a young person might feel having to make that transition from being a teenager to being an adult, and everything that ends up coming with it. There's also, the phoniness. I feel like phony is like kind of like in the hating game. Lucy being short is brought up a ton. The word phony and Holden feeling like people are phony is mentioned quite a bit in the book. So that could also be another topic, another theme of just how superficial and how not genuine people can be, but then also how maybe that's just a part of being a human sometimes, because Holden can definitely be seen as phony himself. So there are a lot of these very psychological, mental, like existential themes. So yes, I agree that there isn't a very intricate plot with like foreshadowing and all of these different things, but I wouldn't say that this book is about nothing either. Okay, let's move on to the next review. It says, my graduate degrees in English must be worthless. I just didn't see a point to it at all. Boy gets kicked out of school, thinks about things, meets up with is written on these pages. Okay, this one is a long one, and this person is not holding back at all. So it says, I know this is a supposed classic, and it is so great, and blah, blah, blah. But I hated it. I don't know if it's because I didn't read it in high school like everyone else, but read it later in life when I just wanted this whiny, spoiled, rich kid to shut up. I also didn't care for the writing style. Some might call it simple prose. I call it crap that my cat could write, and probably would. My cat has a similar sense of entitlement to that of Holden Caulfield. Caulfield. Now, I try not to let this influence my opinion of J.D. Salinger's other celebrated work, as I have not yet read anything else by him, and I hear Franny and Zoe is amazing. So, yeah, there you have it. Didn't like Catcher in the Rye, so sue me. Nobody's gonna sue you. It's okay. Yeah. Oh, I really have to take a moment to digest this review, but yeah, Holden can definitely be annoying, which I think if you go into the book and you view him as a protagonist who you're supposed to like, and then you get what you get, I think you're gonna hate the book. You're gonna be like, why in the world am I in this annoying ass person's head? There are no redeeming qualities to him. Like, what am I doing? And then you might either dislike the book, or you might even DNF it, stop reading it altogether. But I think if you go into the book and you know that Holden is not supposed to be likable, or that he is actually not mentally well, and that's why he is kind of all over the place, or maybe not that he's mentally unwell, but he's in a very sensitive place where he's just unsure of who he is, how to take what the other people around him are. He's very confused, and yeah, there's definitely entitlement because Holden is not a poor person who is, dealing with all these hardships. He is a wealthy person who I think automatically when he's expressing all of these hardships that he's going through, you're like, but you're wealthy, so it's not that bad. And when you think about it, aside from losing a sibling, what happens to him for the majority of the time, it is not that bad. He kind of makes everything into a big deal, but then there are some things that are bad, and he is valid when he is, really affected by them. So, I did read this in high school, so the reviewer said they didn't, and maybe they didn't have a teacher guiding them through all of those intricate bits of symbolism and everything. And to be completely honest, if I had not read the book in high school, I might have also been like, what's up with the red hunting hat? What are we even talking about? What's up with the carousel and all these different things? So I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like I had a very, very different experience with the book, and thanks to my English teacher, I went into the book kind of knowing that Holden is not somebody that we need to like or even need to fully trust, because he is a pretty unreliable narrator. So I think that definitely helped my perspective, and then I could then like other things about the book, like the writing and the kind of the more layered, deeper meaning that I think this book definitely has. But I also have not read Franny and Zoe, so definitely gonna add that to my TBR. The next 1-star review says, I honestly don't know where to begin with this mess of a novel. It was repetitive and boring. The main character had his head up his own used to probably sit around afterwards and discuss how profound I found everything, I instead rolled my eyes and just dismissed the book as soon as I got finished with it. Ouch. Yeah. I think this kind of relates back to the other reviews that I just read. I think if I hadn't read The Catcher in the Rye in high school, I might have had the same exact thoughts, but because I had somebody walking me through the whole experience, I had a very different opinion of the book once I was done, so I can't relate, but I see what you're saying. And last but not least, it starts by saying Jesus wept in capital letters, so they know that they mean business. Now, I know why a movie has never been made of The Catcher in the Rye, because even Zac Efron wouldn't want to be in it. Why even? Are you implying that Zac Efron is not a good actor? The reason I've given this book 1 star is because Goodreads have yet to develop the negative rating system, but I'm sure they'll catch up soon. Yeah, there's not been a movie made, but I think it's more so has something to do with the author. I think not wanting a movie to be made based on the book. I'm going to link an article down below in case any of you are interested, but I think it has something to do with someone not wanting an adaptation, not so much that nobody would sign up to play Holden Caulfield, and not the Zac Efron slander. No, he's great. Have you seen High School Musical 1, 2, and 3? Or Charlie St. Cloud? Great movies. Yeah, I think this is it for The Catcher in the Rye. This was painful. This hurt me a little bit. But again, people have their own opinions. And that's great. And last, but definitely not least, we've got this beautiful book. And you might be asking, what is this book even? Well, it is a special edition of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So I think that most people either know what this book is about or they haven't read it, so I don't think I'll be reading a synopsis for it. And also, there isn't a synopsis on the back anyway, so we'll just skip right to the 1-star reviews, and I can already feel like they're gonna be pretty savage, so let's get into it. I'm a second away from dousing myself in gasoline and lighting myself on fire just so I never have to look at this book again. We are starting off spicy. Very spicy. The next one says, never shall I ever be influenced into reading a Sarah J. Maas book ever again. This book is 70% boring and 30% just enough crumbs to keep you interested to finish it, and the ending is as weak as my upper body strength. Well, I might have to reread this book because I remember being pretty entertained, but actually when it comes to my own book that I wrote and then I sent to a book editor, one of the things that she called out is that the ending needs a little more oomph and things need to come together in a stronger way. So this comment, I feel like, personally attacks me, even though it definitely doesn't, because I definitely need to work on the ending of my book too, so it's not as weak as my upper body strength, which is non-existent. So next one. This one is in all caps, so it's serious, guys. once I finish the developmental edits and send the book off to a copy editor, they're gonna be like, girl, you need to stop it with the M dashes. So maybe that's why I didn't really notice. I wasn't offended. The ellipse I don't use as often, and the repetition I think I did notice at some points, but again, I think too invested in the world to really pay attention. But I think this is a very good comment in general, because sometimes when a book is so strong from a storytelling perspective, you can overlook a lot of things, like a little bit of repetition, because you're just so immersed in the world. And then if the story is a little bit lackluster, I feel like you're really going to notice all of the little syntax issues, like, you know, repetitive sentences, or like an overuse of commas or ellipses or M dashes or stuff like that. So yeah. Next one is The Way This Is by far the only book I've ever DNF'd. Explains it all. Go girl, give us nothing. Ay ay ay. Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself. I think I already said this, but if not, Goodreads can definitely be a very scary place for an author, and I don't think I would venture into Goodreads if my book was ever published to read the 1-star reviews, because I think I would be too scared. But yeah, they did not love this book and they DNF'd it. Actually, I would love to know, what is the last book that you have DNF'd, or to translate from Bookish language into regular English? What is the last book that you did not finish or did not continue reading once you realized that it's just maybe not the book for you? Let me know in the comments below. Some of these reviews are very short, and I guess these people took the approach of, you don't need a lot of words to effectively express how you're feeling. That's kind of the theme that I'm noticing. So the next one says, hating on this book is therapy, bro. It could be. You know, sometimes I love to hate watch stuff, and then read comments about that particular content. So I understand. I can relate. Maybe not about A Court of Thorns and Roses specifically, but on other things, absolutely. And the next and the last 1-star review says, and the answer to the riddle is ... love. Are you kidding me? WTF. Yeah, that's maybe one of the things about the ending of acotar that I was like, oh, that's it. And I think it was because it reminded me of the ending of Harry Potter, because, not to spoil anything if you've not read the series or watched the movies, in the end, a lot of what has happened and what happens in the end has to do with true love, in a sense of a person, a parent, a classmate, a best friend, loving you to the point where they are willing to make huge sacrifices to protect you. And I think that this very much happens at the end of acotar. Love really does end up being the answer. So I guess because this is such a big series, and Harry Potter was such a big and famous series, kind of ending on that love concept, some people might feel a little bit underwhelmed by, which sounds like is what happened to this reviewer. So I see it, I understand it, I still enjoyed it, mostly because of my favorite shadow daddy that's in this book. So yeah, this was actually a very fun video to make, and I would love to make more of these in the want to see more of them. So this is going to be it for this video. Make sure to click the thumbs up button if you liked this video,